Hello, my friends. Thanks for being here. We are very happy to share space with you. I'm Rachel Archelaus, founder of the Intuitive Art Academy, where we help people have two-way conversations with their higher selves through color. And because you're on our live stream, I want to say I'm going to be playing with our new deck today with Carrie. It's not done yet. This is just the prototype. We have all the fancy files on the computer, but this is just a way to play with it before it's printed. So that's going to be really, really fun. A little sneak peek for you. But we're going to talk about money books today, money mindset books, strategy books, whatever our favorites are and what was in them that we liked. And I'm going to be doing that with Carrie Roldan, your business PFF. She's amazing.
Thanks. I am amazing. And I totally brought the wrong books today. So I'm going to let you chat while I grab a couple. You guys know, I never know what's up, right? I enjoy being surprised by Rachel on these live streams. And we talked yesterday about like the kind of things we wanted to talk about, but oftentimes I forget. So anyways, I'm super excited that we're going to play with the deck today because I didn't know that was coming. And I thought we were talking about like what we were reading and what we like about it. But I have lots of money books that I want to talk about too. And many of them are like within arm's reach. But I will show you what I'm reading and then I'll get my money books just for anyone who cares. Actually, this is a question for all of you. Do you guys read more than one book at a time? Because you do also? I totally do. And so this is what's on my desk right now. Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. This one is called Thinking Body, Dancing Mind, Tao Sports for Extraordinary Performance in Athletics, Business, and Life. I have First to a Million, which I'll keep because that is a money book. This is actually for my daughter. It is for young people learning about financial independence. And then Rachel and I both just read Big Money Energy. And then while you talk, Rachel, I'll go get my other money books that I kind of like talking about. So.
Oh, well, this will be good because I'm reading several books right now too that are right here. So let me show you what I'm currently reading. I'm reading Farm to Trouble, which is like a mystery based on a farm, basically. It's very cool. I don't usually read mysteries, but like the farm thing totally sold me there. All my books are from the library. I don't really buy books. I'm also reading The Cut Flower Garden by Florette Farm. Erin Benzakein. So cool. I just watched the show that they made about her last year on Discovery Plus, which reminds me that I have to cancel my Discovery Plus now that I've watched that show. And finally, The Self-Sufficient Life and How to Live It. I've had this book for several years. I've like looked at it a whole bunch of times, but now that I'm preparing to buy a farm, I'm diving in. And not that you guys care, but this book is a lot about sharing the land with animals. And so it's not like the most applicable thing to me, but there's a lot of really incredible things in here. If you want to learn how to make stuff and grow stuff and bake stuff and save stuff, etc.
This is super interesting. And I just want to say that you are totally about sharing the land with animals. Maybe not like livestock, but you're all about that. I think about your snake videos and your
Yeah, totally. But this is like, okay, on a 2-acre pasture, you're gonna have 1 acre for the cow and this for the goats and all that kind of stuff.
Well, you just never know, Rachel. You just never know.
Well, Eric did have a dream the other day that there was a cow in the kitchen that I had just brought in because I thought it needed some shade.
Oh, his subconscious is like, what am I going to do with this girl on a farm?
Definitely.
I forgot one book and I see it now, so I'm running to get it. But let's chat.
Well, I'll comment on Guillaume's comment. That is amazing. Guillaume studied photo reading, so he can read a lot in a short space of time. I'm a really slow reader. I have to remind myself that I can read fast. So that's amazing. Yeah.
It's interesting, Guillaume. So I'm super curious about this because I have just recognized, I think my whole, like, I remember in the 80s, like speed reading was like a thing. It was like, teach your child to speed read. And I was the kid who like had to hear each word in my head. Like I couldn't read any faster than I could talk. But I was just noticing that I was reading on a plane recently. And I was just noticing that, like, oh, I had the ability to actually go down. I think that's what they taught in speed reading. Just go down the middle of the page, but catch kind of everything. It was a new experience for me. So look at that. Anyways, I don't know what my question was, Guillaume, but is that how you do it? I guess is the question.
That's really neat. Okay. So let's start with Big Money Energy, just because it's new. It is available at the library if you don't want to pay for it. It's by Ryan Serhant, who's also a YouTuber and a real estate broker and a brokerage owner and an actor, and probably a lot of other things too. So if you're familiar with him, that's cool. But if not, I feel like he's very approachable, and I've read both of his books. You don't have to be a realtor to get stuff out of it. It's really just personal stories of him kind of like coming up and making it and what made a difference for him. And I know Carrie and we don't just like absorb all of it, like, oh, this is how you become a millionaire. It's more like we're gleaning out these pieces of things that resonate with us and our truth, and we're leaving the rest. So I guess we'll start there. Like, we'll start with Big Money Energy, but also know that whatever we're recommending here, it's not like every single word in this book is something that we are recommending is truth and will be helpful to you. Totally go into books just knowing you're the authority on yourself, and whatever is really helpful to you will cause an effect in your body, a positive effect. Although sometimes a negative, don't you think? Like sometimes, oh, we get like stung by things like that will really help us, but we have like a limiting belief about.
Well, yeah. So that's actually one of the books that I will eventually talk about. As I'm sitting here, I'm like, oh, where's that one? Where's that one? Like I have a stack of books like this right now, and there's still a few more that I was like writing them down. Yes. So absolutely. Sometimes it's when a book comes back around, like it just for some reason decides it wants me to read it again. It's always because something that I refused to hear the first time or wasn't ready to implement or whatever, like now I'm ready for it. And so that's kind of cool to know, like, you don't have to absorb or receive everything. You can only receive what you're ready to receive. And yeah. And also, and maybe this has to do, maybe this is how we can talk, how I can segue into talking about Big Money Energy is, that the author, as an author of a book, I wrote something. It's amazing. It's incredible. It's a great book. And it is where I was in 2013 or 2014, whenever I wrote it. And the same is true for all the authors of all these books, right? They're not omniscient. This is where they were in this particular time. And just like us, they're growing and evolving, and their understanding is expanding as well. And so, I don't know, sometimes that's just helpful to remember. And Big Money Energy. So, Rachel, it is not at all what I expected, because it was recommended by you to me, and because we think about, you and I are talking about energy all of the time. This was way more of it was an enlightened masculine take on energy. And one of the big things that like I wanted to take issue with, but I couldn't because he's just so darn lovable and like relatable, was one of the things how he talks about, okay, let's start from the beginning. When he talks about Big Money Energy, he basically says, listen, I was a douchebag at first. I thought that I was inhabiting big money energy, but actually I was just being kind of an a-hole, right? Like big money energy has a feeling to it. And so what he talks about in the beginning is like, he recognized I need to be taken seriously as somebody who can sell these fancy apartments. I need to take myself seriously. And I can't be, if I'm selling $1 million apartments, then actually can't be someone who is taking clients on the subway, because my clients they're not going to want to ride the subway. They're going to be used to being in a car. I can't be like, I think he said at one point he was wearing like khakis and cowboy boots, or like he had like some funky like style thing going on. Like I need to dress the part. And so a big part of me like resists stuff like that because it feels like fake it until you make it. But that's not really what he was saying. He was saying inhabit the self that I want, inhabit the energy of the self that I want to be. And what will help me inhabit that energy? Is it this watch? Like he said, he got a knockoff Rolex. And he did it partly to look the part, but mostly because every time he looked at his watch, he saw Rolex. And that made him feel fantastic. And so that part I could really get behind. I mostly about this book, I just love the stories. I really love the stories. There's a story about someone who actually does have big money energy, and she's just like depleted and pregnant and exhausted and wears the same sweatsuit the entire time that he he knows her, but she fully inhabits herself and she knows what she wants, and she knows like anyways, I'm rambling, but so point being, it wasn't what I expected, but truly, truly love this book.
Yeah, and I love too that it comes full circle, like to kickstart himself into that embodiment of confidence and success. He bought one really nice suit, and got it tailored so that it fit him. And he did buy that fake Rolex. But by the end, he's saying that, okay, now he comes home and he puts on his shorts and his stupid t-shirt, and he still has the big money energy because it stays with him no matter what he is wearing. And I think that's the part where we are intellectually and like, not like inner knowing wise, like it's not about your clothes, but in our society, we're taught that our clothes matter. And so it might be a path of least resistance to go there first. Like I used to study with Christina Marassi, and she was all about like wear the dress. Wear the dress when you don't feel like it, wear the dress, wear the dress, wear the dress. And she really did rise quickly. She made a lot of like she made $750,000, I think, her second year. Like, and it wasn't because of the dress, it was because she was in alignment with what she needed to be in alignment with. And for her, it was a path of least resistance. Doesn't mean you have to do it. Look at Leonie Dawson. I know she's kind of an older name now, but Leonie Dawson, multi-million-dollar solopreneur who refuses to wear a bra, refuses to brush her hair, like total hippie, 100%, has shown up to awards that she was granted. Like she won Mumpreneur of the Year or something in Australia. She showed up to the awards and the presenter laughed at her and thought she was just some like crasher. Like, so you can do it any way you want to do it. But I really like his evolution in the book and his honesty about where he started. And I think if you're looking for an inspirational story, it's a really good one because he is so clear about how broke he was and how bad his mindset was and how he wasn't doing certain things. And that's what I love. It's like watching the first season of the Kardashians, and like they're in that small kitchen and they're all in the little house, and like they're like, I remember Kim went to do a fashion show once that turned out to be something different, and it was like, I don't know. I love seeing where they start and where they get to because there's no surprises. It's just alignment and mindset and keeping going. And that's really, I love this book for that.
And I just want to caution anybody who's reading it. I love this book for that as well. And I am in a place now, and I know Rachel's in a place now where we don't feel like there are any have tos. But one of the things he does talk about is taking control of your time and analyzing your time in like 15-minute blocks and making sure that you are like constantly productive. And that definitely did not resonate with me. What did resonate with me, though, was him recognizing some things are worth hiring people to do, right? It was recognizing. So for me, it is not about making sure that every moment of my day is productive, but it is about recognizing where I want to put my energy and when it's worth hiring someone to do the thing. Even though you can do it yourself. And for him, a lot of times, even though he really enjoyed doing it himself or thought that he wanted to do it for himself. So, and that is true actually for another book that I read and lots of people really love. And I don't have it around. I don't know where it went. But it is You're a Badass with Money. Like I felt the first half of that book when it was like more story oriented, I was all into that. And then at the second half of the book, it was like a lot of like do this and it just a lot of it didn't go in. My body was rejecting that. And so that's how I felt about the big money energy as well. Is like, yeah, I'm not going to count for my time in 15-minute increments. I'm glad that worked for you. I'm not there yet. But who knows, right? I might pick it up in another 10 years and be like looking at my time in 15-minute increments. So you never know.
I totally agree with You Are a Badass at Making Money. I listened to the audiobook of that, and what I love about it is that she sold a book on a proposal. She didn't have an agent before that. She made that happen. She allowed that to happen, and she did the work for it. I loved the first half of the book. That was more like motivational and stories. But yeah, the second half of the book of like, take the pictures that don't feel like you, have the website banner that feels more studied and corporate, and like, because that's what you have to do. So just get over it and do it. Like, again, she's probably not there anymore, but I didn't resonate with that. But if I'm coming at it from a broader view, I think there is definitely some merit in seeing how you can take yourself more seriously, right? I think that's kind of the distillation of that. Like, you can tell the difference when someone starts to have success. It could be an innate feeling that you have when you look at them. Like Leonie didn't look different in her dress, but she felt different. You could see that in her pictures and all that stuff. But you can also see like sometimes people look a little more polished. They look a little cleaner. Their t-shirt, even if they're still wearing it, looks a little bit newer and crisper. Like, or the website is clearer. There's more space. It's more put together. Like, those are real things that happen when you start to align your energy with what you want. It's just a natural progression. And so getting to that space, I think, is worthwhile. And for her, she had to grin and bear it as she got there, and that's okay. I think the message was a little off, but the path was common,
Totally agree. And I think that everybody has a different way of, I'm actually for doing only what you love and feeling good all the time and leaning into the discomfort. And I don't know, because I'm sorry for the pregnant pause. The leaning into the discomfort for me is about recognizing, oh, this actually isn't that uncomfortable. I was just afraid to do it. Or, you know what? I am feeling comfortable in something that I'm not comfortable with. Does that make sense? And so I don't know. I'm all about like pushing the edges of my comfort zone. and going to both of the examples of the, dressing for success. So this is an industry, or dressing your website for success, right? Same, dressing your image for success. I think what we're really talking about is show up as the version of you that you want to be. And so when I lean into my future self, right, my billionaire self, like, she is not in stilettos and like, she's not like, I don't know. I think about the Kardashians and all their slick hair, and like, billionaire me is not that. So what is she wearing, right? She's wearing the same type of clothes I'm wearing now, just maybe a little better quality, right? I think that specifically about my workout clothes. Like, that's actually when I read Big Money Energy, it made me think, actually, as we're talking about this, Rachel, now I'm like, God damn, I got some work to do. So thanks. Because it did make me think, I would like to get dressed every day, because I think that I enjoy being in my workout clothes all the time. But when I imagine billionaire me, she's either in really nice workout clothes that she hasn't worked out in, or she's dressed in like casual clothes, like you're saying, but the nicer t-shirt, the one that hasn't been washed 742 times, the one, right? Like, and so it has caused me to like make an effort to show up that way, at least when I'm going out into the world, and that's progress.
Yeah, like, have faith in yourself, even if it's not merited yet, even if you haven't done the thing you wanted to do yet, but have faith and confidence that you can do it and you can figure it out. That was like a really big part of that book. Okay.
Yeah. Go for it. What else? What else is on your, what's on your, in your pile, Rachel?
Well, all right. I have 3 more. I'll just tell you in case you've read any of them, which I know you have. All right. First, I have Busting Loose with a lot of caveats. I have Ask and It Is Given by Abraham Hicks. And I have Work Optional, which is much more of a finance book, but is about achieving financial freedom so that work is optional. It's also by a female author, and it really changed my life. Like, finally, somebody is describing compound interest in a way that I'm excited about it. That's never happened before. That's really what helped me like get set up with my retirement accounts and see how I could retire, see how the fastest way to become a millionaire. Like, it's probably similar to the book you showed about teenagers, like that kind of thing.
Yeah. So, and I have a friend who, she and I were talking about our money stories, and her, I have always I've always had a financial freedom mindset. It came from the divine, I think, because it wasn't something that I was taught. But so in the book that, this book, he calls people who think that way, he calls them FI freaks. So FI for financial independence. So I've always been a financial independence freak. Like, I've always thought that way. And I didn't have anybody or anything like showing me or explaining to me or validating that to me. Why am I telling you this? Something about your book and this book and financial independence, work optional. I don't know. But point being, yes, is from, the friend. So less so. So she had parents similar to mine, similar, like just regular American dream, get yourself into lots of debt, work hard until you die kind of people. And she says, so she's my age, and now, like, probably for the past 15 years, taking control of her own finances. She got herself into a ton of credit card debt very young, even though super smart, had never been taught about money, got herself into a ton of debt. And she and I were talking as I was reading this book in preparation to go over it with my kids. And she was like, "Oh, what is that?" She goes, "I love reading books geared toward teenagers, geared toward children. She's like, because I didn't have that early foundational like education. And so she's like, I like reading books that are geared like dumbed down a little bit, just geared for like a younger person. She's like, because they don't like make me feel bad or they don't like elicit fear inside of me. So I'm saying that to you guys because if that is you, there is no shame in like picking up a book that's meant for a teenager or a young person. You'll still get a ton out of it. That's what I had to say about that.
Nice.
I'm going to read my books, read off my list because there's a lot here. And I think we should definitely talk about Busting Loose because we both publicly talked about it before. But I also I want to know, let us know in the chat, guys, like maybe which ones you really want to hear about the most because we probably won't have a chance to get to them all. So I also have Busting Loose. I actually have Dave Ramsey's Complete Guide to Money. Mm-hmm. I have Love Money, Money Loves You. I have A Happy Pocket Full of Money. And then there are a couple that aren't right in front of me, but have made their way back into my repertoire recently, which are, I already talked about You're a Badass at Making Money and Get Rich Lucky Bitch. I really like that one recently. So that's what's on my list.
Yeah, I have done Denise DT's boot camp. I haven't read her books, but I'm interested in reading Chillpreneur just because I really like her approach to things, and I'm totally a chillpreneur. But yeah, that's great. And I was going to say something else about one of your books, but then I forgot. Guillaume was calling out a Happy Pocket Full of Money. I don't think I've read that. Maybe I have. I don't know. It's been a long time. Oh, I was going to say I've interviewed Robert Scheinfeld. I always forget that. But he's pretty chill, pretty cool. So let's talk about Busting Loose. Because, all right, this was recommended to me by Christina Marassi in 2012. And that's when I first read it. And I thought, oh my gosh, this is all about energy. This is not about money, even though it is about money. And he had what I loved about the book is that he had a technique for moving limiting beliefs away from, taking your power back from limiting beliefs. And I thought, that's genius because everyone was talking about limiting beliefs back then. That was the new frontier back then. But no one told you how to deal with it. It was there's limiting beliefs and there's affirmations. That's all the tools we had. EFT was starting to get popular, but I didn't really like EFT because, I don't know, it just wasn't really my jam. But I thought his way of going about things was really special. And he talked about the higher self and he talked about manifestation. And it was pretty cool. What tripped up almost every single person that read it was the revelation that you're kind of the programmer of your world, including the people in your world, and that the people in your world weren't really autonomous beings. They were things you programmed and told what to say. That freaked out a whole lot of people. But now a student in our coaching group the other day mentioned that he also talks about the fact that the law of attraction isn't real. So if I read the book now, there's probably a lot more I would disagree with it on, but it was a really good stepping stone for me. And again, not everything in a book has to resonate with you for you to get something out of it.
Yeah, it's been a minute since I have read it. I've read it more than once, and I still freaking love most of it. I think probably because I, like you, have the ability to be I'm going to take that in. I'm not going to take that in. I don't think that he says the law of attraction isn't real. I feel like there's a lot of people who say the law of attraction doesn't work for you, but then they explain, actually it's working. It's just you've got some resistance or some, right? Or I don't want to say you're not doing it right because you can't do the law of attraction wrong. It's just when you think, people think, if I just concentrate on something hard enough, I will bring it to me. Right. I think that is the bottom line. So I love this book. I was weirded out a little bit on the other people aren't real. but I definitely understand. I do understand that. And one of the fun things that he kind of talks about, the way that I like to look at it, so he's like a movie buff and maybe like a video game guy. And so I like that he kind of says, like, you're just, this whole thing is just you're in the Truman Show, right? Like you're playing a game. You're playing a part, you're playing a role that you, my friend, created, and you've left Easter eggs for yourself, and so like that part, I don't know, I think that is really fun, recognizing. And that actually kind of goes to like what I'm reading in here, just about um the nature of time, and and how creation actually works. Anyways, all this to be said is I think that this is a great book. I know you have said that he has since kind of backpedaled on some things. Oh, one thing he says that really freaks me out is never look at your money. Just assume that it's there. And that I have never done. I took the Denise Duffield Thomas route, which is like track every penny and watch it grow. He's kind of like, yeah, I just know the money will show up. I don't ever look at my bank accounts. To me, that felt a little bit like permission to like deny reality, or I don't know. But that part didn't resonate with me. But I still really love the part that like life is a game. And he sort of talked about like, you've created all the other people in your life, but like, what about the people in traffic? Are they real, or are they just like background figures? And I don't know, I have fun sort of thinking about that sometimes and looking for the glitch in the matrix and all of that.
Yeah, yeah. It's definitely, it gets your mind working for sure. And that's really what a good book will do. It'll get you thinking and feeling and investigating, like, how does this apply to me? So yeah, it's an interesting one. I have read a lot of his other books too. He did move on from this topic. So if you're interested, he writes about emotions and more. Um, the thing that I still take away from that book, now that you mention it, is that numbers don't define me. That's been really helpful. And from when I've had, a lot less money, when things were tight, or more money, it's always good for me to remember, like, okay, I'm looking at this account or this balance or whatever. None of this defines me. Like, none of this is really that important. And I think that's great, because it's almost like if you pay attention to the compliments that you get too much, you're also going to be paying attention to the detractors. So I find I want to be as neutral as possible about looking at numbers, because I know that my true reality is unlimited. Like, my abundance is unlimited. And that's what I like to keep my focus on. So yeah, that was a cool way to look at things too.
Well, and it just reminds us, right, that everything is energy, and it is about like the how you're feeling, right? So I know if I don't look at my numbers, I am feeling worried about overspending or over, like, just all the things, right? And he was able to like feel 1000% confidence the money will arrive. And it actually reminds me of a story I heard about Chelsea Handler, or Chelsea Handler told this story about, she always knew she was going to be rich. And she lived her life that way. She always knew she was going to make it. She knew. And so she would go out with friends and she would like foot the bill. She would put like, 10 people go out to dinner and she would pay for everyone. Okay. So I will just tell you, if I had done that, I would have done it from a place of lack, from a place of needing to appear successful, from right, like from all the wrong places. And my energy behind it would have been a very much fake it till you make it, only it would have been just faking it, and I would have gotten myself into a heap of trouble. But she truly did it from a place of like, don't worry, I'm going to be rich someday, this is not a problem. And sure enough, that is what happened for her. And so that is where like all the advice in all of these books, right? He's telling me don't look at my money. I'm like, that, nope, wrong energy there. But for him, and where he was like, I don't need to look. It will manifest. There will be more than enough. plenty of zeros will show up. So maybe I will aspire to get to that place. But it is a good reminder, like, where is your energy?
Yeah, definitely. All right, what's next?
I was about to ask you the same thing. Maybe one of these?
Well, you've talked a lot about love money, money loves you. And I know it's pretty popular. I think one of our students went to a retreat that they did or a mastermind or something. Um, and that is like channeling money. Is that what it is?
Yeah, so this is really interesting. I will tell you that I have argued with this book. I actually put it down for a long time. I'm just looking at it to see, did I actually read the whole thing? But I did, because I've underlined on. This is why Rachel gets books from the libraries and I buy books, is because just about every page in every book that I read has writing on it or in it. I have to, I'm just kinesthetic. So here's the deal. This is, I'm looking at the wrong book. Maybe I didn't read it. That was Happy Pocket Full of Money. Maybe I didn't finish. Let's see. Okay. I am still on page 204 out of like 250. So I have not yet finished this book. And it's because it is written from the perspective of money. And I really loved that. It is channeled through a human being. So anytime you are channeled through a human being, right, that human being is finding the best language they can find to talk about money, or to channel the energy of money. And so what I was feeling, I believe, is when I was hearing the personality of the author versus when I was hearing what is truly coming through with money. I'm not knocking the author, right? Everybody's just we're all doing the best we can. I don't know if I tried to channel money, how I could not put my voice on the words. But I can definitely feel the difference. And so there are many things. I think I read to you from the very beginning of this book one time, Rachel, and you were like, I have never heard it described more accurately. And so that felt amazing. But it also definitely pushed me out of where I felt comfortable. It pushed me like maybe a little, like maybe it actually was money. And I'm like, no, that's not money. That's just the lady. I don't want to do that. Right. So interesting that we pick it up today. And I recognize, hot damn, I still haven't finished this. But that is it. Money talks to you in a loving way through this book, and also in a get your shit together kind of a way in this book. So now that I'm holding in my hands, like, I am feeling like, oh, maybe it's time to go back to this and see if I have definitely evolved a lot, because I think this was maybe over 2 years ago now that I was like really heavily involved in this. So maybe it's time for this one for me to peek back at this one and see, oh, those things that felt uncomfortable, do they still feel uncomfortable? Am I ready for them now? Because I felt like money's starting to ask me to do some things that I don't think money would ask me to do. That's where I got with this. So yeah. Oh, you're muted.
Do you remember what an example of what it was asking you to do? Because I trust you. I don't know if you know what I mean? Like, if I don't think money would ask you to get your shit together.
I'm looking. So it's saying be honest about money. How to make more money today. I mean, I don't know. I'm looking at it now. Talking about the first approach is often simplest. Ask clearly and simply. Maybe it was a little bit too much about the how and less about like just be in the energy. I don't remember what it wanted me to do. I obviously got a long way. It's super. Money speaks to you in a very matter-of-fact way. And I actually really liked that. I'm looking at how to heal negative attitudes about money. Oh, I did like some of the things. So a lot of the things I can hear that money's talking. To me, there's when I hear like the voice of Abraham, that same like matter of factness, that resonates as truth for me. So like there's there's nothing moral about being poor or about giving money away. You're welcome to give it away if you want, but it's not a moral act, nor is it an immoral act. Like stuff like that, I'm like, that's for sure money talking to me. Gosh, I wish I could remember what turned me off.
Wow.
I gotta go back to
We
it
can
now.
always update the folks when you get
Yeah,
there.
yeah. Ah, this is an interesting chapter that I think I will read again. What your money shows about yourself. That could be good. Anyways, for the most part, I think it is an interesting read. I think it's a valuable read. It definitely challenged me and asked me to look at myself and my relationship to money differently. Yeah, I liked it. So if you like it, if you like the idea of having a book written by money to you, this is a good one. Love money, money loves you.
I don't like that there isn't punctuation between love money and money loves you.
I know.
I knew you'd know. Yeah. Okay, I have two honorable mentions, and then I'm gonna let Carrie talk. I'm gonna do a little reading for Carrie.
Oh boy. Okay.
So I have this real money answers for every woman. The tagline's really funny too. How to win the money game with or without a man. That's nice. And it's very practical. So if you're looking for like a practical book of like what to do with your money, how to start saving it, all kinds of things, like what accounts to have, mindset stuff. This is really good. It's actually a book that I have in person. And then this one, of course, I've talked about so much this year. Really good. $1 Million Consulting. Even if you're a coach, a teacher, whatever, very good because it will challenge you. It will challenge you to think bigger. It will challenge you to get your organization together. It's really good.
Yeah, and I didn't like that one because it had a lot of graphs and pictures and charts, and I was averse to that. I'm not done reading it though. It's still in my like rotation of books I'll pick up every now and again, but it's definitely it is not a light feel good read to me.
Yeah. There's like no stories in it basically. Yeah. It's like here's what to do and how to think about something, which I love both. And I love graphs because as we've discussed, I have aphantasia, so it's hard for me to picture things that people are talking about. So, oh, look at that. It's right there in front of me. It's so good.
Yeah, and I'm like, don't refer me to the figure. Just tell
me. Yeah. Okay, so do you want a little?
Yes, but I just want to say, because I showed this earlier, love, 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 love a happy pocket full of money. It is all energetic and it's amazing. So read it. And then practical. Dave Ramsey is probably like not, you'd be like Carrie and Rachel talking about Dave Ramsey, but he does a good job with stories and illustrations, literal illustrations. And actually, I'm saying I don't like charts and graphs, but there's a compound interest example in this that I like refer to. Like I open to that page. There's a bookmark in that page because like I'm constantly talking about that. So there you go. All right. Yes. Now.
All right. Well, I'll just counter that. So Dave Ramsey, he is really good at helping people get out of debt. I am one of those people who in my early 20s had credit card debt, and I used his snowball method to get out, and it was wonderful. And I used to listen to his show all the time, like via YouTube because they put it up there. But there's just some things I'm not so keen about him. Like, don't listen to his investing advice. It's really terrible. And he's not very good about women and his employees, and people get fired for like having affairs or like not being good Christians. And that's okay. That's his company, but I don't want to support that.
And I think that's just a beautiful example of like what resonates with you.
Yeah.
What did you need to hear? There was a reason that you felt like picking up that book, or you felt like doing that. My husband and I took Dave Ramsey's Financial Peace University because it gave us a common language. It gave us a way for us to, and neither of us agreed with everything, but it gave us like something. And that was like a game changer for us. Do I hang on his every word? No. Right. And so I think that's
yeah, take the message, leave the messenger.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. All right. What do you want to know?
Oh boy, Rachel.
Let's keep it money related. Shuffle as you think.
Okay. So many feelings. And I know other people are watching, so I'm a little bit like, there are some things I am an open book most of the time, but there are a few like money things that are actually I want to keep like really close to my vest while I allow them in, right? I know that keeping them close keeps me in the right energy. So forgive me, everyone, for not sharing every single detail. But I do know that Rachel knows.
Yeah, you can be cryptic. It's fine.
So, gosh, I think like, I don't know if it's too broad or too narrow to ask, like, am I right? But I feel so good about something that I've asked for that I'm certain is coming. And then where I can sometimes wobble is I want the surprise and delight. And I know it's coming with surprise and delight. And there can be some very like tangible, like, well, is it this or is it that? Right. And so that's where I am. So I maybe, can you help formulate a question based on what I'm saying to you?
What's the easiest way to allow this?
That works.
Okay. All right. So for Carrie, what is the easiest way to allow this? And I've already shuffled, and now I just cut us in. So you can't really see what I'm doing, but I'm pulling some cards. I have shape, texture, and color cards. Okay. So I can probably hold this up. So this is what I got, and then I'll tell you what it means.
Okay, I can't see the first one.
Yeah, so this is a texture card, and it's little dots. And then this is a shape card, and it's like a grassy shape. And then this is a shape card, and it's an eye. And then underneath, we only got one color. And this is like it's like spiritual aligned action. So spiritual aligned action. And it's interesting, this texture is like, so it's saying you don't need to be constantly vigilantly embodying your divine self. This reminds me of your productive puttering. Boop, 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 boop. Productive puttering is the easiest way to allow this in. This shape here is all about being breezy and easy and relaxed, and you're the grass blowing in the breeze. And I know your life is kind of like that. There's a lot of breeze in your life. You're always the one trying to be easy about it and going with the flow. But then there's this I. And this I is all about vision. It's all about seeing into the future. It's about knowing yourself, knowing what's inside of you and what you want to see outside of you. In the context of that spiritually embodied, aligned action way, like, what do you want to create is really the question there. And you will create it with your productive puttering. So for me, telling you, there's nothing you need to change. You're already doing the productive puttering. You're already doing the visioning. I would say this is probably the piece that you need to work on, if anything, is that this is going to get interrupted by this. So feel like you can relax and go with the flow, and that it's just as important as you getting things done.
Say that again. So I'm with you. You said feel that you can relax and go with the flow. Like, yes, I definitely know that I can relax and go with the flow. I don't always feel like it. Like, we opened the call today with me complaining about that. Or we started before we went live. I was complaining about that. So I hear that. But then you said something else. I missed it.
It's just as important as being productive. So there's no difference between going to the doctor with your kid or helping the dog out or picking up dinner than it is when you are in that state of like, oh my God, I'm just getting so much done today. Same effectiveness.
Okay.
Especially if you can relax while doing that.
That's so fun. I do know that. And we're talking about, embodying my billionaire energy. That is how she lives, right? Like, relaxed. And I think that is actually going all the way back to big money energy, where I struggled a little bit, was like, wow, his billionaire self, he's like busy and moving and shaking, and like, my billionaire self is a little bit more easy breezy. So yeah, thank you. That was good.
Yay.
Super fun.
Nice. All right.
Well, I don't know if we have a question for our viewers, or if you want to do a drawing for yourself.
Ooh. Okay. Yeah. How do I most easily allow my billion? Oh my God. I just kind of like briefly shuffled, and then my hand went to do it because it's still intuitive art, even though it's cards. So I got the same color and I got the same texture, but I got a different shape. Mine is the meandering. And it's kind of like, these are similar, right? The productive puttering and the meandering. But for me, I think it's more important. I need to be able to feel the thread in what I'm doing, or I feel totally lost. And I think this is what is most important right now. And it's actually like, so I started showing up to work differently last week, and it brought me back into harmony with a thread that I had kind of put down for a long time. And ever since I did that, thank you for the yawn, I've been feeling like, oh, this is really important. This can never leave me ever again. And I've been spending a lot of time on it. And so I feel like that's what this is, not only saying keep the thread with you, but the thread you have with you is really important. So keep that in all the things that you do. And it's not asking me to give up all my other stuff, because Lord knows there's no chance of that happening. But it's saying, okay, you have the thread and you can still do all the other things. So basically, for both of us, it's keep your eye on the vision, really, but don't change what you're doing.
I think I obviously I keep yawning. I think I really need to hear that. And I love that you got meandering because you know that's how you work your best. When you stay on the path, but it's not a straight line. And you just like which is different than the productive puttering is a little of this, a little of that, a little of like for you, I just think it's so important to remember like I'm walking this path and it's taking me where it's gonna take me. It's taking me the scenic route, or however you want to view it. Um love it.
The
Love it.
path of most enjoyment is the path
Yes.
I'm on.
Yes. Yes.
Nice.
Good stuff. This was fun talking about all the. I think I don't know if we're gonna wind up being a book review show, but I feel like we read a lot of books, Rachel.
Yeah, I love to read. I love it. And that would be so much fun. Like maybe next time or next month at some point we'll do our favorite different kind of book or whatever.
Yeah. Or
Oh, you know what? We have like 4 minutes left. What you mentioned briefly the Joe Dispenza book. What's your thoughts on that? Because I've never read his books, but I'm familiar with him.
Yeah, so same actually. This is the first book of his I've ever read. And I had a friend tell me like she read it, and it's just when something keeps showing up for me, I'm like, okay, fine, I'll finally read it. It was something that I think I already thought I knew what it was about, like, oh yeah, I don't need to read that because I already get it. And so far that is the case. I feel like that's the case with most of these things, right? They remind you of the nature of reality, right? Like honestly, whether it's this or like same. So I don't feel like I've read enough to give an accurate. I'm literally on page 39 right now. I don't feel like I've read enough to give an accurate description, but I will tell you I am highlighting and writing things in the margins and doing yes and putting little hearts and all of that all over the place. So I know that I'll get something really, really valuable out of just the reminder. He is definitely coming so far from like if you took PhD version of science and talked about it to like a high schooler. So like he doesn't like dumb it down entirely, but it's fairly science based so far.
Cool.
And anybody who's interested, it's called Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself, but it says how to lose your mind and create a new one. So I think it is, Rachel, going to be a lot about the how to change your limiting beliefs, how to move. And like, if you're familiar with Joe Dispenza, you maybe already know his hows. But I do like that when I heard Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself, I'm like, but I want to become more of myself. But that's what he's really saying is like, let's be more of who you truly are, who you want to be. And let's break the conditioned patterns that you don't really want in your life anymore.
Yeah. Getting out of your own way.
Yeah.
I was actually on a call this morning that had just a very brief exercise of like where to show yourself that you're in your own way. And I'll just read it here. It's just 3 questions. One is like what you say you want. So like think about your life. What do you say you want the most? Just one thing. I want this. And then what you have in regards to that. So like if you want to make $100,000 a month, what do you have right now? What's your reality? And then what does the discrepancy show? I want more. So like for me, when I was doing this before, it wasn't about money, but it was about the team that I want. And because I've been wanting certain people to be full-time with me for a while now, and most of them are part-time. And so what does this discrepancy show? I want more. And what I came up with was free time. So it's showing me that I have a belief that I will lose my free time if I hire a bigger team and I'm responsible for more people and the whole thing that comes with that. So that gives me something to calibrate. That gives me something to reframe. So I thought those three questions that came from Angelique Ruers were really, and she got it from her coach. I don't know where it originated, but what you say you want, what you have right now, and the discrepancy that shows you. Good stuff.
Okay, so we're right at time, but thanks for staying a minute or two over, everyone who's watching. So question about that for me, or for you guys who are watching. So let's take it purely from a money standpoint. So what I want, I'm going to use $1 billion because I've been using that all day. So I say that I want $1 billion. And for me, that means $1 billion lifestyle. And I can feel into that. It's very Kardashian-esque at the moment. What I have is a very comfortable, wealthy lifestyle. But I can definitely feel the discrepancy, right? I'm aware of limitations, maybe. I'm grateful and aware. What does the discrepancy show that I want more? So when you said that, I felt like, oh, well, it's showing me that clearly I want more what I actually have. Like that, is that what you're meaning to, or is it revealing where I need work? That's where I was struggling.
Well, I would say it's yes, because that's where you are. It's where you're more comfortable. But there might be an underlying reason. Like for me, free time popped into my head, and maybe something won't pop into everyone's heads. Like maybe that's just how I process things. But obviously, it's showing that you are aligned more to what you have, whether you want it more or not is the thing. It's like, what do you want more? Well, you want maybe, all right, just from a purely manifestational point of view, like you want your current level of effort in aligning more than you want to put in the work to, because we all know what to do, right? I could meditate more, I could vision more, I could journal more, I could walk more, I could enjoy myself more, I could, all the things. So we're wanting our current level of effort to be the same instead of that, perhaps.
Okay, thank you. So I often get feelings, but it came to me the grass drawing, like as you were talking, like, oh, there it is. Okay. Well, I hope going through that exercise helped you guys. And man, did it feel good to go through both those exercises and get the same response, same feeling.
Yes, I know. Clarity is amazing, which is why intuitive art is amazing. So join us. Take our free class at intuitiveartclass.com. Become a certified intuitive artist. Help others get clarity. You guys save $1,000 for a limited time. Come in at our light version for a limited time. Go to intuitiveart.com/certification for all the details. All right. We love you. We'll talk to you soon.
Bye, guys.
Bye.